What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of LBFT of Season 2, or Logan Battles Football Talk. This is Episode 9 of Season 2 of LBFT. For this episode, we're going to be talking about the Kansas City Chiefs yet again. This has been, I think, the third straight episode that I've done, or just the third episode I've done in Season 2 of LBFT, that I have talked about the Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Kareem Hunt and Travis Kelce and the rest of the crew. I talked about them plenty of times before, but this time it's about their impressive win last night against the Cincinnati Bengals. So, based on how impressive their win was against the Cincinnati Bengals were last night, let's talk about it. So, let's get started. So, for those of you that have not watched the game, the Kansas City Chiefs have dominated the Cincinnati Bengals, and the final score was 45-10. 45-10 was the final score of the Sunday Night Football matchup between the Chiefs and the Bengals. Now let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, particularly the offense, starting with Patrick Mahomes. He's been the real deal yet again. He has proven to every single one of us that he has been the best quarterback this season. It's possible that he will win the 2018 NFL MVP award, or he will be the MVP of this season. He had completed 28 out of 39 of his passing attempts, 358 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, had a completion of 71.8, QBR of 123.7. This dude is the real deal. He's something special. He's nothing short of spectacular. No question about it. It would be sacrilegious for me to say that he's not a great quarterback. That in and of itself would be absolutely blasphemous. He's just that fantastic. Anyway, Kareem Hunt also is the real deal. He cannot be ignored. 15 carries, 5 receptions, 141 total yards, 86 of which are running yards, the other 55 receiving yards, 3 total touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, 2 receiving touchdowns. He averaged 5.7 yards in rushing, averaged 11 yards in receiving. This dude is also something special. He's just that phenomenal. Just phenomenal to watch. He, along with Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, have put up an absolute show almost every single week this NFL season. They're just that spectacular, especially Kareem Hunt. Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, speaking of those two, Travis Kelce, 5 receptions, 95 receiving yards, didn't have a touchdown, but he does average 19 yards in receiving. He was that impressive. Tyreek Hill is also very impressive. 7 receptions, 68 receiving yards, 1 touchdown. He averaged 9.7 yards in receiving. He's also very impressive. Just 1 touchdown he had. Now this one dude that I'm now getting into, the Kansas City Chiefs offensive player. Another receiver besides Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Sammy Watkins. He showed up last night. He just showed up last night, and I could not. I was absolutely surprised. I didn't even know that. I didn't even knew Sammy Watkins was with the Kansas City Chiefs. I didn't even know it was him. Excuse me. 4 receptions, 74 receiving yards. Didn't have a touchdown, but he averaged 18.5 yards in receiving. So he's been very impressive. But besides Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Kareem Hunt, and Patrick Mahomes, the one guy who stood out that I didn't even think would show up in last night's game was Sammy Watkins. He surprised me. He's just that impressive. This is probably the first time that I took notice of Sammy Watkins as a Kansas City Chief, particularly an offensive player for the Kansas City Chiefs. He just was impressive last night. He made some incredible receptions. You know, whenever Patrick Mahomes passed the ball to him, he was just that good. Basically, the Kansas City Chiefs offense did a terrific job, as usual, so far this season. That they continue to prove that they are the team to beat within the AFC. That they continue to let everyone know that they are the real deal within the AFC, if not in the entire league of the NFL. They continue to prove all of us that they are not, that they are a force to be reckoned with. Particularly just offensively, they are. But now getting into the Cincinnati Bengals offense, they were relatively decent, or mostly, I should say, just decent. But they didn't do very much to help, make this game much tighter for the Chiefs, or making it more difficult for the Chiefs. Just basically making it a very close game, like I expected this to be. I expected this game to be much closer, but apparently I was wrong. The Kansas City Chiefs defense showed up, and they given the Cincinnati Bengals offense a rough night last night, a rough game last night. And I will get into the defense in just a little bit. But Andy Dalton, he was relatively pedestrian, only passed 100 plus passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. That does kind of had a. He was all right, basically. I mean, he had a completion percentage of 51.7, a QBR of 63.6. He was just relatively pedestrian overall. He just wasn't that great. He ain't bad. He's just not he just wasn't that impressive. Joe Nixon, like Sammy Watkins, I also didn't knew that Joe Nixon was going to be in this game as a Cincinnati Bengal. But once his name pops up, I was like, whoa! I didn't know that was him. I didn't even knew Joe Nixon was with the Bengals. Either that, or I might have forgot that he'd been drafted by the Bengals. Anyway, but he was like Andy Dalton. He was also relatively pedestrian. I mean, he averaged 3.8 yards in rushing, only rushed 50 yards, 15 carries. I mean, he was okay. However, the one Cincinnati Bengal player that I thought was really impressive, who showed up despite the Bengals having the dominant loss to the Chiefs, was A.J. Green. He was impressive. I mean, come on, man. 7 receptions, 117 receiving yards, averaged 16.7 yards in receiving. I mean, this dude is impressive. I mean, he's honestly statistically speaking, he's been the best Cincinnati Bengal in this entire game. He stood out above over every other Cincinnati Bengal player, including Andy Dalton. A.J. Green stood out above every single Cincinnati Bengal in this game. Anyway, so yeah, A.J. Green was impressive. He was very good. Now let's get into the Cincinnati Bengals defense. They were awful last night. That they could not stop the high-powered Patrick Mahomes offense, or at the very least even slow them down to at least make the game more tighter for them by scoring more points against the Chiefs defense. And the Bengals defense, more into that. Excuse me. This has been honestly, the worst that Marvin Lewis and the Cincinnati Bengals have been this football season. This has been the worst they've ever been this season. I can't stress that enough. And speaking of Marvin Lewis, I saw a stat where that shows his regular season primetime and Saturday Night Football records. And what they showed, and keep in mind, what I'm about to say, that this happened, this just popped up on my TV screen just a quarter or two before the game ever had ended. This just popped up on my screen just a quarter or two before the game has ended. So try to keep that in mind. Marvin Lewis in primetime games is 10-23, which is .303, and that was the lowest winning percentage amongst all NFL coaches. That was the lowest win percentage amongst all NFL coaches. 10-23 in primetime games, and he was 0-7 in Saturday Night Football games. 6 losses on the road and 1 loss at home. Not one single victory in a Saturday Night Football matchup. Not one. And if that wasn't shocking enough, how about the fact that in nearly 16 years, he never had one playoff victory? Not one. How about the fact that he is 0-7 in the playoffs, all 7 of which, by the way, are wild card games? I can't imagine what the Bengals have gone through, how they feel about this right now, how they were feeling throughout the last 16 years. He's been the Cincinnati Bengals head coach. I just couldn't imagine what they're feeling right now, or how they felt throughout the 16 years. I mean, unbelievable. Just unbelievable. That tells you everything you need to know about how pathetic the Cincinnati Bengals ownership is. It seems like they don't even care about the fans. They don't care about what the fans want. It's like all they ever cared about is the money. That I could be wrong. But that's just me feeling that way. Now that's just me feeling like the ownership for the Cincinnati Bengals just don't care about what the Bengals fans want or think or say. It's like they mean nothing to them. Which is, if you are a Bengals fan, you should be absolutely disgusted with how dysfunctional the Cincinnati Bengals ownership is. I mean, it's just that simple. No, not one playoff victory in nearly 16 years Marvin Lewis had in his 16 years as a head coach for the Cincinnati Bengals. Come on, man. I mean, he's got to leave Cincinnati. He's got to leave there. He's got to leave that city. He has not given them one playoff win as a head coach in the last nearly 16 years. He's just got to go. I just couldn't believe it. Anyway, that's another subject for another day. Now going back to now I am getting into the Kansas City Chiefs defense. They have surprisingly stepped up. They showed up in last night's game when it counted, particularly with the pick six that happened I believe it was in the third quarter. That was when I saw that play happen, I was like, whoa. Wow, that was very, very good. I didn't expect a pick six to be happened by the Chiefs defense, but it happened. And because and another thing, this is the first time in the NFL season that the Kansas City Chiefs defense haven't given up more than 200 passing yards. This is the first time this season that the Kansas City Chiefs defense haven't given up more than 200 yards of passing against opponents, against opposing quarterbacks. Andy Dalton is the first quarterback the Kansas City Chiefs defense had faced that has never passed over 200 yards against the Chiefs defense. And this is also the fifth time this season that the Kansas City Chiefs defense haven't given up more than 100 rushing yards. They haven't given up more than 100 rushing yards against a running back opponent. And Joe Mixon is the fifth running back that they have faced that kept him below 100 rushing yards. So yeah, the Kansas City Chiefs defense showed up in a way that I didn't think would be possible, especially when they were going up against a competitive Cincinnati Bengals team. The Cincinnati Bengals, despite the record, they talent-wise, they were impressive. They're very talented. They can play, but the Kansas City Chiefs have proven that otherwise last night. They've proven otherwise, and that screams volume to who they are last night. I mean, I gotta say this, and there is a reason why the title of this episode is called Kansas City Chiefs' Most Dominant Victory of 2018. There is a reason for that. And the reason for that is this has been the best that the Kansas City Chiefs have been so far this year, both offensively and defensively. The offense and the defense showed up at the same time in one game. Last night's game. This has been the best team that this has been the best performance from the Kansas City Chiefs I have seen this season. That's just what comes to my mind. They look like a complete team. It's just that simple. I just could not believe how impressive the Kansas City Chiefs have been, offensively and defensively. I didn't expect the Kansas City Chiefs to show up against a talented and competitive Cincinnati Bengals team. But yeah, I mean, I was just that surprised by the Chiefs defense. Now, going back to Patrick Mahomes for just 1 minute, this is the fourth time this season that he has made 3+ touchdown passes. And this is the sixth consecutive time that he has passed over 300 passing yards. So yeah, fourth time he has made over 3 touchdown passes in a single game. And sixth competitive time that he has passed more than 300 passing yards against opponent, against each opponent in one single game. He's just that special. And ladies and gentlemen, I gotta tell y'all right now, the way he has looked between last night's game and the last, 5 weeks of him playing NFL football, I'm telling y'all right now, he's gonna win the 2018 NFL MVP of the season. This NFL season, he will be the MVP. I'm just gonna call it like it is. He's just that special. He's nothing short of sensational, remarkable, spectacular. He's just that impressive. just the best young quarterback this season. I'm just calling it like it is. And with Patrick Mahomes, as well as Tyreek Hill and Kareem Hunt and Travis Kelce and the rest of the crew, along with Andy Reid as the head coach for the Kansas City Chiefs, I said this, I think in my previous episode, or the episode before the latest one, but I'm still picking the Kansas City Chiefs to go to the AFC Championship game against the New England Patriots. That's what I think the game will look like, or what I believe the game will look like. I am picking both the New England Patriots with Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski to go to the AFC Championship game, as well as picking the Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Kareem Hunt and Travis Kelce to go up against one another. To go up against each other, I should say. That's what I'm still consistent on that. I'm still consistent on doing that. I believe the Kansas City Chiefs will go to the AFC title game against the Patriots. That's what I believe will happen. I don't trust the Pittsburgh Steelers to go to the AFC Championship game and face the Patriots. I don't believe in the Los Angeles Chargers to go into the AFC Championship game against the New England Patriots. I don't believe in the Jacksonville Jaguars to go to the AFC Championship game and face the Patriots, only because of that damn Blake Bortles and the way he looked in their latest game. He ain't gonna make any damn difference after that pathetic performance he made. I just don't believe in the Jaguars unless, and only unless, Cody Kessler proved me otherwise. That he can take them to the playoffs, all the way to the AFC Championship game. Until that happens, and until I'm proven otherwise, I'm still going to pick the Kansas City Chiefs to go face the New England Patriots in the AFC Championship game. That's just how I view it, and what I believe what I predict will happen. I'm still consistent on that. Anyway, guys, I just gone on for far too long about that. I apologize. But anyway, guys, those are my thoughts on last night's Sunday night football matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Cincinnati Bengals. Mostly, this is the most dominant victory that they've had of this 2018 NFL season. 45-10. That's impressive. I mean, the offense and defense showed up at the same time. That's just impressive. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this episode, please click the like button. And if you have already watched the game, comment below and let me know what you think. Do you think that the Kansas City Chiefs will represent the AFC to go to the Super Bowl? Or do you think that they will face the Patriots within the AFC Championship game? And let me know which of these teams would you pick to win the AFC title game to go to the Super Bowl. Let me know in the comment section below, or just tell me your thoughts on last night's game between the Chiefs and the Bengals. Anyway, if you enjoy what you've seen here and you want to see future videos from me, please press the subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so that you never miss a video. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great week, Battle Squad, and as always, fight the good fight. Oh, and by the way, look out for my review for The Predator. It will be up later tonight, so yeah, stay tuned.